Hey, welcome to a new episode of The O-Pinion. I'm the host, DJ Blue, the Sports Guru. Hey, today we're going to talk about Dr. J. I don't know what's going on with the doc right now, man. He's 73 years old. He's getting up there a little bit in age. I hope this don't have nothing to do with that. But let's discuss his top 10 list that he put together, his all-time top 10 list. Let's get into it. So Dr. J gave his, Julius Erving, the legend, Julius Erving. He gave his top 10 NBA players over the weekend. And I must say, man, I'm a huge fan of Dr. J, but I'm disappointed in this list. This list that he put together, which is his top 10 players of all times, this sounds like some list that he created back in 1998, and he just been telling people this same list ever since 1998. Like, that was 1998 was about 5 years ago. Like, you gotta update the list. Like, these lists gotta be like fluent because other new players and greats have come along. My biggest issue with this list is Doc left off Kobe in his top 10. He don't have Kobe Bryant in his top 10 all times. He don't have LeBron James in his top 10 all times. He don't have Larry Bird in his top 10 all times. So let's get into it real quick. I know I got some younger listeners to the pod. For the folks that's a little bit younger, that don't know who Dr. J is, Julius Erving. Dr. J is one of the original star players in the NBA. He was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan. Dr. J, he had his own sneakers, the Converse, the high top All-Stars. This was before Nike had ever created the Jordans. So when Jordan really came along, everybody kind of was just like, he's like the new Dr. J. So, Dr. J kind of carried the ABA and the NBA in the 70s and in the early 80s, where Dr. J, where he finally won a championship in 83 with the Sixers. So, again, if you're not really that familiar with Julius Erving, I'm going to refresh your memory right here. Dr. J, the nicknames, the Doctor, Black Moses, Hall of Famer. He's a part of the NBA all-time top 75. He's an NBA champion. He was a part of that 1983 Philadelphia 76ers championship team with Moses Malone, Mo Cheeks, and Billy Cunningham, Andrew Toney, and all of them. One-time regular season MVP. He won 3 ABA regular season MVPs. Doc was the man, especially in the ABA. If you know anything about that ABA-NBA merger, when they finally merged and brought it all together. He is a 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 6'7", small forward out of UMass, one of the most prolific dunkers that the game had ever seen at that time. I mean, look at Doc was doing some amazing dunks. And the thing about Dr. J is, Dr. J had this persona that was just class. He had charisma. So Dr. J is so well respected. He's not an aggressive personality. He seemed almost like a quiet personality for years. If you know anything about his story, Dr. J is a really good person, a great star. Great star. Growing up in Philly, I still remember growing up with and seeing his retirement ceremony. He retired in 1986-87 season, and I will say the retirement ceremony that they gave for him at the Spectrum when he retired, and the whole NBA community said bye to Dr. J. That had to have been one of the top 5 saddest moments that I ever watched in sports. Like that night in Philly at the Spectrum Arena at the time is where the Sixers played at. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house that night when the NBA and all the Philly fans thanked Dr. J for a great career and said goodbye to him. That was such a sad moment. I think the only retirement party or retirement ceremony that I've ever seen a team throw, I think Kobe's is up there as like sad saying bye. It was up there with that. Like, everybody was in tears. People was like saying goodbye. Dr. J was so beloved by the whole NBA community. So I'm giving y'all a lot of this information just so y'all understand how great of a star Dr. J was. Actually, I actually feel like Dr. J is slighted a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, when you hear people talking about the GOATs, you hear everybody talk about LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, you know, Magic, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You don't really hear people talk about Dr. J. I understand he only won one NBA Finals, but I would like to hear Dr. J be mentioned more, because Dr. J, like, he was the league. Dr. J was the man. Like, trust me, Dr. J was the man. And so maybe Dr. J at 73 years old feels a little bit slighted. So when he came out with his top 10 list, I feel like if you look at the names that he gives on this top 10 list, he's really giving names from his era in the generation before him. It's almost like he wants you to know, like, hey, don't forget about this generation. And if you guys consider this generation being so great, I was a part of that generation, and I'm just as great. Hey, look, I'm gonna just get it 10 names right now. Like I said, no disrespect. When he gave this list, when Doc gave this list, he said it's in no order. So 1 through 10, it's in no order. I'm gonna drop it right now. So he said Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Karl Malone, and Nate Tiny Archibald, right? Now, let me say, like I said, no disrespect to none of those players. Some of these players will be on my top 10 too. Wilt Chamberlain, you know, like I said, like I told y'all before, when I do top 10 lists, I like to separate the big men from all the other positions. I like to give big men their own top 10 list. That's just my preference. A lot of people don't agree with that or do that, but that's what I do. I like to put big men like Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, all them big men, I like to give them their own list. You know what I mean? But Dr. J put them all on his list. And, you know, looking at these names, you know, no disrespect to them, but for example, he's got Nate Tiny Archibald on his list. And he's trying to tell us that Nate Tiny Archibald is a top 10 player of all times, okay? Over Kobe Bryant. Nate Tiny Archibald averaged 18 points per game throughout his career. Nate Tiny Archibald only has 2 seasons where he averaged 28 points per game and more. The 1971-72 season, he averaged 28 points per game, and then in the 72-73 season, he averaged 34 points a game. He only averaged over 28 points per game twice in his career. He only went to the NBA Finals once in his career, and he won the NBA Finals only once. So the one appearance that he went, he won it, which was early, I believe it was like the 1980 or 81 or something like that, NBA Finals, with a young Larry Bird. So he wasn't even like so Tiny Archibald wasn't, when he did win a championship, he was like a role player, okay? So considering he only had 2 seasons over 28 points per game, Kobe Bryant had 5 seasons where he averaged over 25 points a game. LeBron James had 7 seasons where he averaged over 28 points per game. I'm not even getting to the seasons where Kobe averaged 27, where LeBron averaged 27. The career points per game average, Kobe's at 25. LeBron's at 27. Nate Tiny Archibald's at 18. Doc, sir, how are you choosing Nate Tiny Archibald over Kobe Bryant, over the LeBron James? LeBron has been to 10 NBA Finals. Granted, he's 4-6 in those finals, but he's a big reason why his team went to the finals. And let me get something straight. I know this channel is new. I'm gonna let y'all straight up know, I am not a LeBron hater. I'm a LeBron realist. He's a great player. I keep it real when I discuss LeBron. I don't hate LeBron. So I give LeBron his props when it is required, like I give any other star his props. I'm not going to overly give him props more than what I believe he is. That's what a lot of people don't like. So LeBron's been to 10 NBA Finals compared to Tiny Archibald 1. Karl Malone only been to 2 NBA Finals, I think 3, and lost all of them. Karl Malone.
Sounds right.
Kobe's been to 7 NBA Finals, 5 and 2. How do these players make your top 10 list over? Either Doc, you either just hating on these guys, or you're trying to make a case that your generation was greater, or Doc, you just haven't updated your list since 1996, 98. You gotta update your list. You just can't create a top 10 list, Doc, in 1998 and be telling everybody the same list for the next 25 years, Doc. Come on. I love you, Doc. I love you, man. You're like one of my favorite players. I hate that I even gotta be doing this right now. But come on, we can't do this. We can't be disrespecting players like Kobe Bryant. We not doing that. And then, you leave Larry Bird off the list too. Like, now, look, Larry Bird and Dr. J got into a major fight at, I believe it was a preseason game in their career where they was gripping each other by the necks. So is that the reason why you left Larry Bird off of a top 10 list? Sir, I'm going to end it like this, Doc. Everybody love you. We all love you. Please don't turn into like bitter Scottie Pippen at this point in your career. Everybody love you. I believe that you should be on Mount Rushmore on some of them. I believe that you're one of the GOATs of the NBA. Don't start doing stuff like this where it feel like you bashing the younger generation to get attention or so people can recognize how great you are. You was great. Please, sir, please do not give us a top 10 list that you put together in 1998 and you trying to sell it to everybody. Sir, please update your list. Please have whoever your assistant is, get you on the internet, get you on Google, and that list is so outdated. Somebody asks you, who's your top 10 players of all time? Come on, Doc. How you forget about Kobe? How you forget about LeBron in the top 10 list? But again, I don't think a lot of people like LeBron. I had another episode where I told you Steph Curry didn't like him. So y'all check that one out too. Anyway, thanks for checking in with me. Thanks for another good episode of the O-Pinion. Check out all my other episodes and make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll see y'all later. All right.